Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Deal, the Sherrone Moore era, getting kicked off in Ann Arbor with what I think a lot of Michigan fans would say a sloppy win Saturday night. Again, this is a 20-point win against a Fresno State team that I think will compete at the highest level in the Mountain West Conference. That being said, you take a look at the standard that Michigan has developed going back to the 2023 season. I think this, largely on offense, certainly falls short to that standard. Now, I think the big takeaways for us Michigan fans, this defense is still one of, if not the best units in the country. Feel very confident saying that. I think the big question that we both want to dive into, and there's a little bit of a disagreement between us, can Michigan win at the highest level with Davis Warren at quarterback? I think that's what a lot of Michigan fans are trying to figure out after Saturday night's performance. Want to get into that now. Before we do, and as always, one of the Michigan fans, let it fly in the comment section. We're on Twitter. We're on the message boards. We see a lot of different takes and opinions around this Michigan offense, specifically around the quarterback spot. Would love to hear from you guys in the comment section. Again, if you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Been a blast talking this Michigan program, and the amount of support y'all have shown, it means the absolute world. Dill, I'll give you the T-box here. Davis Warren's performance Saturday night, my question to you would be, can Michigan win at the standard we're expecting to with that kind of quarterback play?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't see it. And again, I don't know if they were just not calling it a certain way, but if he's going to be the quarterback, there needs to be more aggression down the field. And I know he took his couple shots, but by and large, he was, I thought, way too conservative. I thought, again, checking the ball down on 3rd and long really quickly, no pressure really yet, just checking it down. He did that a couple times, maybe 2 or 3 times. That just can't be what he does, because if he's not going to add that other element that Alex Orji can add, that ability to run the ball, I don't see how the way kind of he played, frankly, is a whole lot different from if Alex Orji is the quarterback or if he's the quarterback, because he wasn't particularly efficient. He wasn't particularly good pushing the ball down the field. And obviously he doesn't run the way Alex Orji runs. So I don't see why, if they're going to play that way and he's going to play that way, you don't just go with Alex Orji.
Yeah, I think my comparison would be, it felt like kind of how Michigan handled Cade McNamara in the 2021 season where, hey, Michigan won a lot of football games, won a Big Ten championship, went to the college football playoffs, but it was, you're probably pretty clear that you weren't going to win a national championship with Cade McNamara at quarterback. I would probably agree with you. The offense that we saw tonight, you probably can't win a national championship with, even with how good Michigan's defense is going to be, just because you didn't see any kind of explosion in the run game is still going to have to figure itself out. Now, my take on the run game is, and I'll have to go back and kind of watch this game a couple of times, it got a lot better in the 4th quarter, which we're used to seeing with this Michigan team. This is a really new offensive line. I don't doubt the capability of this offensive line. What I question right now is the chemistry and continuity of the offensive line, where, we were kind of establishing the line of scrimmage, but the combo blocks, the timing, we were not working up to 2nd level defenders all that well. I fully expect that to get better as we kind of go through 2024. But right now it is kind of a clear difference between the offensive line with all the veterans we had in 2023 to what we had in 2024. So I don't think the run game did a guy like Davis Warren any favors. I think one of the questions you got to get into is Davis Warren capable of playing at a little bit of a higher level and doing more within this Michigan offense? Because I don't think Sherrone Moore and Kirk Campbell were asking Davis Warren to do all that much either. And so that's kind of one of the questions that I'm trying to get at is Davis Warren, did he show enough that he's capable of being that kind of guy? I don't think we got our answer.
I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with that idea. Oh, they didn't let him do anything. And it's kind of hard to say, because at the end of the day, we'll have to go rewatch it, obviously.
Yeah.
But the ball was checked down a lot. That's the one fact I know. I don't know necessarily what was going on. I think he did miss a very open C.J. Charleston when he tried to hit that play to Samaj Morgan. So, again, some of those things that if you're going to play the way Davis Warren plays, those things can't be missed a whole lot. And frankly, you got to take your chances, because the other side of the coin was Alex Orji, who, I mean, we only really saw throw the ball one time, and it did not look like a great throw, obviously.
He threw that touchdown pass, too, early in the red zone. Kind of almost forgot about that play.
And it was like a little bit of a gimmicky throw, obviously. I wasn't asking him to do a whole lot. His one throw was not the prettiest throw in the world. But again, when you saw him working that read option, you saw some like green shoots of an offense that, frankly, I think can work better than frankly what Davis Warren put on the field today.
Yeah, and I guess the argument against Alex Orji is if that's what you're getting from Alex Orji in terms of through the air, you can't win with that either, right? I mean, Alex Orji needs to make those kind of throws or at least make competitive throws. I mean, that throw that we did see was buried 2 yards in the dirt. And so can Alex Orji consistently make those throws? I think that's one of the questions that we don't necessarily know.
But that's where I think it gets into like that conversation's different if Davis Warren's 18 of 25 for 175 yards, as opposed to 15 of 25, not particularly efficient and not particularly good getting the ball down the field.
Yeah.
And opening up some space in this offense for, again, that run game to get going. That's my fundamental issue. I think I just saw way too conservative, and I don't know if that's his mentality or if that's how he's being coached. But one of those things like that doesn't square, I think, with winning big games
at the highest level. 100%. I think, and again, not to sound like I'm defending Davis Warren to the bone here, but this was his first start in the big house, a guy that has not played any sort of significant football during his career. But the biggest concern for me is the lack of explosive passing. I mean, 4.5 yards per pass attempt, and on your completions was only 7.6 yards. And I think one of the other question marks are, do we have the wide receivers to make it happen? I think you saw some like flashes from Samaj Morgan when he gets the football in his hands. And I mean, Tyler Moore's kind of given up on that. Davis Warren, I think, threw a really good ball, pushing the ball down the field. Tyler Moore seemed like he came up on it. It seems like this Michigan offense, which I'm okay with kind of it going through Colston Loveland because he is the best tight end in the country. But you look at the other wide receivers, our leading wide receiver in the passing attack was three catches for 15 yards from Tyler Morse. And so one of my question marks is, do we have the explosive wide receivers to have that dynamic downfield passing attack? That's still kind of unanswered. And that would be kind of another argument to say, hey, maybe we rock with Alex Orji and have a very run-centered offense where you look at Alex Orji, we can be somewhat of a one-dimensional offense, but if we have Alex Orji in the backfield, it can still be an offense that is hard to stop on the ground because of what Alex Orji can do.
And then again, I think I wish we got to see Alex Orji throw. I think
I agree.
a certain point in that game, you kind of knew what was going on with Davis Warren, that he wasn't going to be out there changing this offense a whole lot and being a guy to elevate this unit. I thought that was kind of being made clear. And I mean, that at that point, I almost wish not take a shot and let him rip it.
Yeah, I would be lying if I wasn't thinking the same thing. Do you think that we'll use Alex Orji more against Texas and just didn't want to kind of show our cards in terms of how we want to use Alex Orji?
That the hopeful fan in me was definitely thinking that.
And it certainly makes sense. Teams do that all the time. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if you see a heck of a lot more of Alex Orji against Texas next week than you did against Fresno State. And I'd be perfectly fine with that. Like, why show what
he's actually throwing it? That's what I think, because it's still, even today, it was like Alex Orji's in there running the ball because he obviously only threw it one, or if you want to say
2 times. I guarantee you that Alex Orji throws the football against Texas. Guarantee you. And I think they're kind of setting it up where, hey, when Alex Orji's in, the defense is keying one run, and we're going to try to hit some sort of explosive play. No doubt that is in the bank for next Saturday. We're certainly going to see that. Dill, we didn't get our answer to the quarterback battle, I would say, and we're going to get our answer next Saturday. You know what I mean? Like that's for Michigan fans.
Play like that on offense, they're going to score like 10 points, maybe. I think.
Yeah. Now I want to get to some other things that we saw. Let's talk about the running back room. We kind of said this, and I know a lot of Michigan fans kind of pushed back on it, and we kind of went back and forth in the comment section. I kind of said all offseason, Kalel Mullings might be the guy in this running back room because of what he brings and how Michigan wants to run the football, right? You go back to 2023, what made, Blake Corum so special as a running back? I think a lot of it had to do with him finding the hard yards. Yes, it was fun to see Blake Corum get to the second level and make people miss, but what made him special was it was 2nd and 6, and it was 3rd and 1, and we're moving the chains, and we're kind of going brick by brick, methodical, kind of that boa constrictor kind of outlook. Kalel Mullings gives you that way more than Donovan Edwards, where you look at Donovan Edwards, and I'm not saying take him off the field permanently, but the lack of consistency in terms of you look at his numbers go 11 carries for 27 yards. That's a 2.5 yards per carry average. That's kind of what you saw from him over the last couple of years too, where he does give you those explosive plays. You need to find ways to get him on the football field, but from a down-to-down basis, I think Kalel Mullings gives Michigan what they're looking for in the run game. And I thought you saw that very clearly on that touchdown drive late in the fourth quarter.
I mean, that one late drive was vintage Michigan. That's exactly how, again, if it looks like that, and then you obviously see Davis Warren rip it to Colson Loveland up the middle, that's how Michigan can be really effective. So that is going to be a very interesting thing is, do they have it in them to make that switch and make it really pronounced? Because I think at the end of the day, the way Kalel Mullings runs the ball, that's kind of how Michigan needs their running backs to run it. And it's just a different style than Donovan Edwards. And I mean, you saw that was vintage Michigan, what they did.
Yeah, and I think another thing worth noting is the offensive line, where
they did dial it.
We're being critical of Davis Warren. They didn't do him any favors in pass pro in the first half, like picking up stunts, picking up blitzes. It was kind of a disaster, which, look, makes sense. I am very confident in terms of the capability of the starting 5 offensive linemen. And I think you saw individual good performance, but as a unit, it wasn't great, which, again, it is to be expected, right? These are guys that have never started a college football game together. You go back the last couple of years, guys like Zinter, guys like Trevor Keegan and Carson Barnhart, they played so much football together that it was such a gelled unit. That wasn't a gelled unit that we saw now.
Why I don't want to take that and exonerate Davis Warren fully is I did think by the middle of the second quarter, maybe the end of it, that unit did start to dial in. They were giving him a fair amount of time. And again, the ball was coming out, I felt like, way too quickly in way too conservative manners. And some of those checkdowns are spraying it to the outside for a couple of yards down the field. You got to let things develop. I know the offensive line wasn't playing well early, but that can't make you so gun shy that you just shut down and start.
Yeah, we'll have to watch the we're obviously both going to watch this probably over again tonight. And kind of get a better feel for what the offensive line looked like, because it was rocky at times, no doubt about it. And even in the run game now, I think it's interesting. This is kind of what I noticed. And again, got to go back and kind of watch it a second time. Kind of winning at the point of attack, but the timing and the combo blocks weren't great. Like, we did not get to the second level defenders as well as we did last year. And so if you can kind of clean up just a little bit of the gelling with this offensive line, like, I'm very confident we have a good offensive line unit. I fully trust a head coach like Sherrone Moore to get the best out of these guys. I think you got to be patient in terms of this offensive line coming together, because although they are veteran guys, they haven't played a ton of football together. I want to, I guess one other thing, Colson Loveland, are you a little bit concerned that it's too one-dimensional in the passing attack? That was one of the questions I had for you on my notes. Because you look at Davis Warren, 15 completions, 8 of them, over half of them went to Colson Loveland. Your leading wide receiver, once again, Tyler Moore.
I really don't mind that number. I think he should be force-fed the football. He's one of the best. I don't want to say just tight ends. He's one of the best weapons in college football. I think, again, the way he runs routes, the way he can create separation, how good his hands are in catching the ball in traffic. I'm very okay with him getting force-fed the ball. And, yeah, you definitely want to see everyone get more involved. And, again, I think there's part of that of Davis Warren being a little more confident, being more willing to take some chances down the field and not just going to the safety blanket kind of route, if you will, which was Loveland in various checkdowns, it felt like at times. But I'm pretty comfortable saying, like, we're going to force the ball down Colson.
Yeah, and I think most Michigan fans are okay with that. It's kind of like the Brock Bowers treatment that Georgia gave him the last couple of years. Like, when you have a player as special, and I think this is crazy to say, I think Colson Loveland's probably underrated. Like, you look at him, he separates like a wide receiver, has the yak of a big body tight end that you just can't bring down, and then the catch radius is absolutely incredible. The kid, he did have one drop. I'm going to let that slide because he was just getting peppered and kind of force-fed. Colson Loveland's an absolute dude. Now, let's talk about something we both agree on now, and that's the Michigan defense. Elite. Talk about two other guys.
Derek Moore are freaking awesome.
I was going to say the same thing. Like, we kind of in the offseason were like, hey, we still got some good edge rushers and Derek Moore and Josiah Stewart. I would like to like upgrade that and say we have that. That's elite. When you talk about like Jalen Harrell and Braden McGregor, they were good. I think you're looking at 2 top 50 NFL draft picks in Josiah Stewart and Derek Moore. They play the run exceptionally well. They both were just absolute menaces getting after the passer. And then you look on the inside, you have Mason Graham. We kind of know what he is. Kenny Graham played phenomenal. I look at it and say this front 4 is absolutely dominant, and that's kind of what has me most fired up about this Michigan defense.
Yeah, and that was a really good unit, and I think we all kind of knew that. So one other guy I think I want to shout out on the defensive line is Cameron Brandt. I think they got something with
Yep.
him. I thought he had a really nice game. So again, I think you saw some guys, Rayshon Benny playing a really, really good football game was good to see. So you saw some of the depth emerge. I think this defense is so good. That's my issue. That's why it's like almost really frustrating to see them play offense in the way they were playing it and being so safe and not taking chances. It's like you have such a good defense. I don't know. I don't want to waste it kind of playing so
Yeah.
conservative. It's like
It's a national championship caliber defense, I think what you're trying to say, and you just want to have an offense that gives us a shot to win a national
at
championship.
least like try it, like try to do it. I don't want to
Yeah.
see it like go down and be taking the safe route. Like we'll never lose a game. Michigan shouldn't lose
Yeah.
because we're not going to do it. Like basically what Cade was doing for Michigan,
Agreed.
which is trying not to lose games you're not supposed to lose. You got to have someone who wants to, like what JJ did. I know people do the like, oh JJ, what do you have to do for Michigan? It's like, well, in big moments, like the offensive line wasn't manhandling Ohio State. JJ made a couple huge throws. That throw to Roman Wilson up the middle on the 30-yard line or wherever it was, like that's a monster throw. It's taking a chance. It's letting it rip a little bit. I just didn't see a whole lot of that today. And at the end of the day, you're going to need it at some point. So like we're going to need it next week, frankly.
Yeah, and again, I think we're going to find out what this offense is about week 2 against Texas, which is a good thing for Michigan fans. Like, we don't have to wait in 7 days, less than 7 days at this point. We're going to find out how good this Michigan offense can be, and relative, like, can we win? Is this an offense that we can win a national championship with? Again, we're going to find that out week 2. Rest of the defense, Jay Sean Barham certainly looked the part. Dill, Wink Martindale aggressive, but I kind of like the balance. It wasn't just like this gung ho cover zero. Like we got burned cover zero in the red zone there.
I didn't love that call. I don't get why you need to go that heavy. Like just rush your 4 guys. I don't know that we needed to blitz in that spot. It puts Jaden McBrose in a really, really tough route.
And also when you talk about how good this pass rush is with the front 4, and there might just be kind of like I wouldn't even say growing pains, but a feeling out process. Like Wink Martindale getting a sense of, all right, what can this front 4 do in the pass rush? Do I need? And I'm not telling Wink Martindale to like shy away from what's made him in my mind, a really good defense.
They were getting home on blitzes. Like that was fine. I just thought that like real cover zero blitz in that spot, that just looked like an easy play. And again, I'm not a defensive coordinator. I don't know anything. Just my like caveman brain fan was like, whoa, why'd we do that? That looked
good. And I think it's easy to criticize it when it goes for a touchdown, and it's a lot more fun to praise it when it goes for a pick 6. Fresno State had 9 total rushing yards, so dominant performance there. Will Johnson was not happy with himself. You could tell even after that pick 6. Like, and you want to know something funny? I didn't even tell you this. I was watching it, and right as that play was unfolding, the pick 6, I was saying, hey, Will Johnson's got to settle in. I feel like he's trying to do too much jumping routes. I was saying that mid-play as Will Johnson jumps the route. And I was like, I just reminded myself, like, hey, Will Johnson, just trust the process there. Will Johnson's an absolute dude. Secondary, I thought was really, really solid. For the
Jair Hall's good. That was a really
Jair Hill played well too. And Fresno State made some good plays. Like this Fresno State passing attack is going to be very, very good. This is a team that I think wins 8-9 football games. So like it's easy to get frustrated with a 20-point victory that was kind of sloppy. I think we're gonna look back at this game 6 weeks from now and say, oh, Fresno State.
Like UNLV, like when UNLV had the drive.
And UNLV ended up being a 9-win football team. 100% agreed. I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll obviously watch the game. We'll probably talk about it either tomorrow or Monday once we kind of get a couple more watch backs. Michigan fans, again, let it fly in the comment section. Would love to hear from you guys.
I really want to know where the fan base. I love hearing it. I'm so interested to see where people are at. Because again, I am prone to that emotional quick. I don't like it. Change it all.
Yeah. And then we might both watch it back and say, all right, well, we'll kind of see. But I think Dill, you read them. I was on some of the message boards during the game. Absolute war zone. Like absolute war zone. The Michigan fans are all over the place in terms of their takes, and I'm certainly here for it. Would love to hear from you guys in the comment section. Appreciate you guys checking the boys out. Midnight Eastern time, and we'll talk to y'all later.